Guys, we now have a new public enemy number one for crypto. And if we can get him out, that is the best way possible. No, it's not Gary Gensler. No, it's not Elizabeth Warren or anyone else. It's not Joe Biden either. Joe Biden doesn't actually do anything. He just lets his ministers run everything. Gary Gensler is operating with the support of these guys. And Elizabeth Warren, while powerful in the Senate, she is not the chair of the committee that determines crypto fate. So, who is this powerful enemy that crypto has? It's Senator Sherrod Brown. He is, I believe, a senator from Ohio, and he is an incumbent, and he assumed office in '07, but he's been in government for way longer than that. He was a House rep from January 3rd, 1993 to January 3rd, 2007, before he actually ran for Senate. So he's actually been in the government for over 30 years now. And this is one of the main reasons why we need term limits, or why we need to make it easier for new blood to replace old blood, because he's been in office for nearly 30 years. And being 70 years old and still not retired, he's an old dude that probably does not like crypto all that much because he has no idea what it actually is right now. So he's very suspicious of these new things, much like Elizabeth Warren. And why is he such a powerful enemy of crypto? Because he is the chair of the Senate Banking Committee. As you can see on his wiki page, he's the chair of the Senate Banking Committee, and he gets to determine a lot of what goes on in the financial world in terms of crypto. So maybe if he was 20 years younger, he would be more open to this, but right now he is not. And because he's chair of that committee, there's very little we can actually do about it. I'm not really sure how safe or unsafe his position is, but regardless if the Democrats actually win or not next time, I do actually believe that he can actually be ousted from his position, mainly because even if the Democrats win the next election, which I probably have like a 50-50 chance, the thing is, like, there's more Democrats actually up for re-election in the Senate than Republicans. So the thing is, like, there's more of a chance for the Republicans to flip the Senate, even if the Democrats win the overall general election. And the thing is, like, yes, the Democrats might actually retake the House, but here's the thing: the Democrats in the House tend to be a lot more friendly towards crypto than the Democrats in the Senate. I mean, at least they're more varied in their stance. There's the Democratic House representative from Hawaii, and also all those guys who co-sponsored those pro-crypto bills in the House of Representatives that could actually be more open to crypto regulation. And Gensler is, yes, he's being backed by Elizabeth Warren, but he's mainly being backed by Sherrod Brown because of his position on the Senate Banking Committee. So U.S. crypto legislation will depend on Senator Sherrod Brown, who amplified his view on Tuesday that he sees this industry as jammed with fraudsters and abuse. And of course, Gary Gensler obviously echoed that sentiment. Now, to be fair, crypto is not doing itself any favors. We just had a $27 million hack / inside job / whatever. And we had one like 2 days ago as well. So the crypto industry itself is giving these guys so much ammunition to work with. That's why I said we need to actually oust these fraudsters from the industry, which is going to be really hard to do. We actually need to accept some regulations that let the feds actually track these movements a little bit more easily. So when these hackers actually do something, they cannot cash out, and that would take away all their incentives to actually attack crypto. Because right now, when you have multi-million-dollar hacks every 3 days, it's going to be very, very hard to convince the public that crypto needs less regulation and less harsh regulation. I mean, these guys are ruining it for everyone. And make no mistake, there's hundreds of millions of dollars being lost, and people do complain because they get into crypto without really knowing how it works or what it's about. And these exchanges, a lot of them are backdoors and inside jobs, and it happens so often that they don't really need to search very hard. I know a lot of you are saying SBF was a government plant. I actually don't think so, because look at all the scams even without SBF. There's so many of them. You can't argue with me that every single one of them is a government plant. Most of them, if not all of them, are just greedy bastards who want to screw everyone out of money, or like hackers that hacked in because the programmers didn't know what they were doing, or even worse, the programmers were part of it all along. So crypto has plenty of that in itself. If it was only one or two breaches, you can point and say like, you know what, banks have all that all the time as well. But the traditional financial industry does not actually have as many breaches as the crypto industry. It's not every other day. You hear about one every couple of months and they make a big deal out of it. But here, like in crypto, these like $10 million hacks aren't even really much news anymore, aren't even much of a big deal anymore because they're so common. And that's where people, and including politicians, get the perception that it's rife with fraud and criminal activity, because it kind of is. So the thing is, like, we as a community need to clamp down on this. We can't really we can't really idolize these people like, oh, they're such smart hackers, they deserve it because they figured out how to beat the system. No. That's just going to make people want to punish crypto even more. And that's just going to make adoption even harder. Like, how are you going to convince people to adopt when you tell them, hey, your money could be stolen in 3 weeks and there's nothing you can do about it because we like these guys and we idolize them? No, that doesn't actually work. See, like, the thing is, people want the safety as well of the traditional financial industry and the gains of crypto. Now, you can't have all the safety of it, but you need to make it a little bit more safe than a hack every 3 days. Imagine if there was a bank heist once every 3 days. How would people actually feel about that? And remember, the amount stolen from these crypto hacks is way greater than any bank heist. Because remember, when armed robbers rob a bank, they can only take as much money as there's physically in the bank. And lugging millions of dollars out is actually a very heavy job. And they have to do it before the cops get there, because if the cops get there, they're kind of screwed. So the thing is, like, you can port like hundreds of millions of dollars with a click of a button. Remember the Axie Infinity rodent hack? $600 million. There is no hell of a way any bank heist can come anywhere close to $600 million. So the total losses by these hacks in crypto is way, way greater than by any bank heist or all these bank heists combined in history. Now, you could say, well, there's legal manipulation by JP Morgan in the banking industry. I'm not going to argue with you on that. But let's be honest, there's plenty of legal manipulation in crypto as well. Legal or illegal, they'll never really get caught. So that's not really an argument. Crypto as a market, because it's smaller, is much more easy to manipulate than the traditional market. And realistically, like, you're really not going to stop that anytime soon. But you have to actually make an effort to actually like scrutinize these people more and make it harder. That's generally why I'm not against KYC AML. I know a lot of people want to do money laundering and tax evasion, but that stuff also makes it a lot easier for people to actually steal your money and get away with it. So I'm actually kind of in favor of it at this point, because I don't really money launder or tax evade. I actually report all my crypto earnings to the IRS, so I'm really not worried about that. First of all, like, that stuff is illegal, but second of all, yeah, like, I would rather like report all my money and have that and have some security that, like, hey, like, if the perpetrators want to cash out as well, everything is KYC AML, so they will actually get caught. And as for the mixers, I'm okay with Tornado Cash, but like, I'm actually not crying myself a river if Tornado Cash does shut down, because that's also another conduit for hackers like this to wash your coins and make them completely untrackable. So having untrackable coins is both a benefit and a detriment. Benefit because of privacy issues, obviously, but also a detriment that if you get your coins stolen, they can use any of these methods and then you won't be able to track them and get your money back. So you gotta balance both sides out. But when Gensler was actually making the arguments today, I mean, us in the cryptoverse, we're going to say, like, those are complete BS arguments. Like, just because, some people can commit crimes does not mean the entire industry is bad. That's true. Like, for us, we understand that. But when you're looking at the greater public and you're talking to other politicians and you're talking to the general public, that isn't going to fly if you actually have a hack every 3 days. People are going to see, like, tens of millions of dollars stolen every 3 days off a simple hack, many which are actually inside jobs. And they're going to be like, well, yeah, it is completely rife with scam and fraud. And you know what? We're going to support Gary Gensler and we're going to support Sherrod Brown and Elizabeth Warren in making an anti-crypto army, because it's obviously all one big farce. And that's why we as an industry actually need to shut it down. But Sherrod Brown, next election, if he's up, you should vote for his opponent. because you can possibly oust him, although his district might actually be safe. However, Ohio is not like a highly Democratic state. It's actually a Republican state and has been one for a while. So there is the off chance that you could actually vote him out. But even if he isn't voted out, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And that light at the end of the tunnel is that there's way more Democratic senators up for re-election next time than Republican senators. And because of that, even if the Democrats win the overall general election and win the House, the Republicans can carry the Senate just because less of their members are actually under attack. And if that happens, I do believe you can get a bipartisan deal through the House and the Senate of crypto legislation. Because as long as Sherrod Brown's there, the legislation and the bills are not going to get passed because he's going to cock block them. Gary Gensler, even though he can do enforcement actions, he cannot cock block legislation. The Senate Banking Committee chair can definitely cock block legislation, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. So we're not going to get regulations at least until the elections next year. And even the Dems control the House, like I said, I don't think that's as much of an obstacle because there are plenty of pro-democratic pro-crypto Democrats in the House, less pro-democratic leaders in the Senate. The Senate seems to be more aligned in their anti-crypto stance, probably because of Elizabeth Warren and Sherrod Brown. So he is public enemy number one because he has the power to stop crypto legislation, and he is fully in support of Gary Gensler. So that is the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.